in the book of Matthew about the disciple Peter walking on the water is very interesting. It was an exercise for the disciple to have his faith in Jesus stretched. In the scripture, Jesus sends his disciples out to the other side of the Sea of Galilee, where he was going to teach with them. During their journey in the night, the boat went into a storm. Later, Jesus joined the disciples out on the water. At first, when they saw him walking on the water, they thought he was a ghost and were understandably afraid. Jesus recognized their fear and told them who he was. Peter then said to Jesus, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." Jesus told him to come to him, and he immediately climbed out of the boat and began walking towards him. When Peter began focusing on the power of the storm, he started to sink into the water and called Jesus to save him. Jesus held out his hand and asked Peter why he was fearing. Now, this story doesn't come to you and I by mistake today. Let's just have a closer look. If we see this story through spiritual eyes, we see that the boat which the disciples were in was a special boat. It was used by Peter for many years as a vessel for him to fish with. To him, that boat represented security. He knew it well, knew how it behaved on the water, and trusted it, not only as a means to bring in food, but to carry him backwards and forwards safely in the sea. Jesus had also used the same boat to preach and teach from. So I guess to the disciples it was a special place, a kind of sacred boat. Yet, how amazing it is that when Peter saw Jesus on the water in that storm, he didn't call out to him to calm the sea, but instead he said, "Command me to come to you." You see, Peter had a desire to be with Jesus, not just to see him from afar, but to be with him. When Jesus called him, he straightaway stepped out of the boat and onto the water. He believed that if Jesus could walk on water, then Jesus would be able to do the same for him. Only when Peter began to allow the fear of the storm to consume him did he begin to sink. So it's the same for us today. What sacred boat are we in at this point? Is it the sacred boat of finance? Is it the sacred boat of relationships? Or perhaps the sacred boat of our religion? The Lord wants us to know that he's always calling to us into a deeper relationship with him. We shouldn't reach a point in our relationship with him and then simply park there. No, like Peter, there should be a desire to be with him, to get out of the boat and go to him, not just to watch him from afar. It's not easy for us to leave the security of our sacred boats, and there's nothing wrong in having security in our boats. But those securities should not prevent us from getting out of our boats and growing closer to Jesus. Let's ask God for a desire to want to be with him and not just to see him from far off. One day, in the twinkling of an eye, we will be with Jesus in the kingdom of heaven. There, we will see some people sitting at his feet and others will be far away. So let me ask, where would you and I like to be seated? At his feet or further away? Let's spend time thinking about our life hereafter and where we would like to be seated, so that as we step out of our sacred boats, we'll walk firmly on the waters of our relationship with him. Let's get to know our Father in heaven now while we have time. Read about his character in his word, fellowship with other believers, and talk to God all day. As a result, daily we will learn to trust him more. If we feel ourselves falling during our day, it will then be easier for us to call on him and say, "Lord, command me to come to you." Don't let the fear of your current situation take your eyes off the Lord and cause you to sink, but have faith that the Lord will carry us through. Remember, it's by the power of his Spirit that we grow in him, not by our strength. Let's stop trying to please God, but instead allow His precious Spirit within us to draw us out of our boat and into His saving arms. It's been a privilege for me to have spent this time with you. I pray the Master's blessing on you and all your families. Until next time.